Tigers win. Uh-oh. Guys, can you hear me out there? Tigers win against North Dakota State. You know it's getting late when we have some technical issues here on the show, but nevertheless, it is good to be here. Another postgame show of AYS for LSU baseball. I do think from a baseball perspective, we have a lot that we have to get to. We talked about it last night, right? Like, we talked about a lot of things last night, baseball-wise. Got a good little 10-minute segment in, but didn't spend enough time on it that I wanted to. You know, we had the Angel Reese, Flau'jae Johnson, South Carolina stuff, Kim Mulkey, Carter joined us. We had a lot we needed to talk about. It's good to get back to some baseball here. We will touch on it all tonight. Look, I am going to field a lot of your questions here. I know that you're already asking, right? Like, for example, I know that a lot of you are already asking about Paxton Kling. I think it's a fair question. I think it's a very, very fair question when it comes to Paxton Kling. We will talk about that. I filled a lot of questions today. We'll talk more about the offense, but we'll break this down as well. We got more LSU stuff we need to talk about. I will dive in a little bit of football. I know it's not in the topics, but I think there's some things that we need to discuss, some things that I'm hearing around recruiting, and some things that I am hearing, and some speculation around football that we need to discuss. We also, if we have time, we might do this in the morning on our SEC show. We will discuss the Nick Saban stuff that he said today in front of Congress. I do like, though, Nick Saban trying to help and take a stand and trying to help us with things here. But nevertheless, I don't think any of this really goes back into the bottle as they think that it does. And I do think it's a little hypocritical of Nick being the spokesperson. I mean, anyway, I know I'm going to get killed for that take. So we it is what it is, but I think we need to discuss it. By the way, a lot of you, I hear the NCAA should have done something. We're literally finding out in court that anything that they would have done is illegal. What measures do you want the NCAA to take? Because quite honestly, I don't know what you think they can take. Everything that they could have done, it's over. So you can be mad at them. Oh, they should have put regulations in place. I saw a lot of you today. I tweeted, if you were the college football commissioner, if today, which we'll talk about in the morning, if I made you the college football commissioner on day one, what's your move? And a lot of you said ending NIL. Like, what? Like, you can't do that. You're not allowed to do that. I don't know, man. I don't know. All right, we got to get into. Charlie Viator says I'm echoing. Am I echoing? Let me know in the chat if we were echoing. We will wrap up, too, about the Lady Softball Tigers. They take down Texas this morning in a big-time win. Taylor Pleasance, easily the best shortstop in all of college softball. Happy for Beth Torina. We tweeted the live game today. It was a lot of fun. The game was really fun. They are still undefeated. 23-0 is Beth Torina's Tigers. So a really good one. Got off to a fast start. Got a 5-run first inning. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So can they continue? I mean, Ole Miss is not a great squad softball-wise. What if they get a sweep there? So now, I mean, we're going to have to start talking about the softball team more regularly, man. I mean, they're on a pretty good run. All right, Brant Robbins says many teams are struggling right now. Many teams got upset tonight. Hopefully LSU finds another starting finds another gear starting this week. Who are you saying is struggling? Florida? I agree. Lost tonight to Florida State. Wake Forest maybe if I'm not mistaken, got blasted. Maybe even got 10-run ruled by Wake Forest. Coastal got 10-run ruled Wake Forest, I should say. Yeah, it's early, man. I mean, this team just has not played a complete game. I don't think they played a complete game really in all aspects either on the mound, defensively, or at the plate. And it's what you should probably expect. Thought you saw some good things tonight, though. I do think that there's one thing that you gotta look at and see. Hey, about Paxton Kling. I mean, he is really struggling, but he got the big hit against Southeastern. But before that was 2 of 20. I mean, he's going to be batting right around his weight right now. He came in he came in hitting 255 after the night, maybe around 240-ish, 230-ish. I mean, he's hitting closer to this weight than anything, and that cannot happen with your leadoff guy. Now, I don't know who you put there. I have my opinions on who I'd put there. We can touch on it. I'll ask you. I just don't know if you got to put Milam there. Milam's going to have to lead off for you. I'm sorry, freshman, that you got to be in that situation, but it's just the truth, man. It's honestly the truth. Now, Ethan Fry is out. Okay. I mean, he really kind of came into his own. It'd be good to see him back in the starting lineup. And look, Neal was in right field tonight. Was pretty fun. Was pretty okay. Was pretty good out there in right field. Didn't do anything bad. Did pretty good. So they're still trying to find their way, man. It comes to a point where you start asking yourself, when do you start really diving into this team? And look, you're about to start SEC play, so you'll see. And look, Mississippi State's not fantastic. They're not a great team. But I will say, I mean, Dakota Jordan hit another home run tonight. Like, that dude is on fire. You can't play around with him, though. Like, you're going to have to go, it's time to get moving. I'd rather be struggling right now than struggling later in the season. Really would. And it's a tale of two seasons. Last year, you were wondering if you had enough guys that could get you to Omaha in the bullpen. You were wondering if you had enough guys that in the bullpen are really even starting that could get you through Omaha, or even a regional, super regional, for that matter. Now you look at it and you ask yourself, like, it's just the opposite. Like, man, are you going to hit enough? And it's a tale of two seasons. It's completely opposite. And we're going to have to re-gear our mindset a little bit about baseball. I mean, I'm being serious. Last year, you would run out there and beat a team 17-6, and everybody's like, it didn't really matter. But we're just going to have to reprogram ourselves a little bit early. I still think that Bear Jones is seeing the ball well enough. I mean, guys, you don't hit the balls that hard into the opposite field, and everybody's like, oh, he looks bad. I don't think he looks bad. I mean, he's going to see a lot of off-speed starting this weekend. So we'll see. Holden Lee says, honestly, our pitching is going to be the strength that's obvious. I think our offense will click eventually. I'd rather peak middle of the season than now. Let's hope they find it on offense. Yeah. Daniel Chambers says, how long is Fry out for? I don't know. Jay said that his injury was a lot like what happened with Tommy Tanks a year ago. So somebody can count me on that. I don't know. Maybe 10 days, 10. It's either 10 games or 10 days. I don't fully remember. I mean, it wasn't out long. 10 games sounds like a lot. But then again, it kind of doesn't. I mean, that's a weekend. Maybe you play 2 in the midweek. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. Dustin says Milam should be leading off. I agree with you. I don't think you have a choice. I just really don't. And I mean, Kling's going to start in center, and you cannot or you will not pull him right now for under any circumstances. It's just He can't be in that spot. He really can't. And I don't know if really, guys, outside of Jones, Travinsky, White, anybody else is fair game, in my opinion, to go to that position. Even shit. I know you're gonna laugh at this shit, and it's the stupidest thing ever. At this exact moment, I would rather see Milazzo leading off than Clean. Just being honest. At least I know I'm going to get productive at bats from Alex Milazzo, and he's going to swing at strikes, and he's not going to get fooled a lot of times. That's a lot to ask for Clean. And look, man, he's finding his way. He's finding his rhythm. We got to be a little bit patient. If any fan base that knows that they should be patient about something, it's going to have to be this one, especially when Jordan Thompson went through what he went through in Omaha last year. We're just going to have to be patient with some of these guys, and it's tough to come out here every day and say the same thing. It really is. I don't necessarily always buy. Sometimes when a guy is struggling, like if a guy's really struggling, I don't want to hear it's too early. There are certain situations where you can say, okay, he just looks bad at the plate right now, and I think that he's just going through it. So two things can be true at once. I think you can have an opinion about, a specific thing and not be the whole truth and nothing but the truth. So we'll touch on it. We'll touch on it here tonight. All right, we got lots to get to. Let's see if we got some more comments in here before we get rolling. Anthony B. Saint says, Blake, any updates on Chase Shores? I have not heard. Cole Adams says, you move Clean 5 through 7, lower the expectations, and he will come around. Well, not only that, it's because he's going to have high expectations no matter what, right? He will. But I get what you're saying. You expect a lot from him there, and you see him a lot because of that, right? You see a lot of him because of that. Looks like Mississippi State just lost, though, too. Who in the hell did they lose to? This is March the 2nd, yeah. Oh, UL Monroe almost knocking off Ole Miss. And they played South Alabama. South Alabama actually isn't a bad team. South Alabama's not a bad team. USA's not bad. It's not bad. I will tell you this. This is normally when we start getting cranked up, right? What I mean by that is when we start doing a lot of these post games, especially on Saturdays in the SEC play. So yeah. Craig Duncan says that Ryder beat number 6 Duke tonight. How about that? The Dukies going down. They're actually a pretty good squad. Actually, a really good squad. So there you go. You just got to deal with it sometimes. All right, let's take a quick break. We got lots to discuss. I got some recruiting and football we need to discuss. Obviously, we'll go through this post-game baseball game. We got one tomorrow, too, at 1. And then we start SEC play this week, man. Thursday, we will talk a lot about Mississippi State as well. So got lots and lots to get into. Stay with us. Actually, you know what? Hold on, guys. Hold on. Don't hit that. Yeah. Everybody do us a favor by hitting the like and share to all those social media groups. If you're on Facebook, share to all of those social media pages. You're watching us, listening to us on YouTube, like, subscribe, notification bell, wherever you are listening to the podcast, rate, review, and subscribe. Let's get to a quick break. Got tons to discuss. We're back next. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way for you to wager on all of your favorite sports, contests, events with the first-to-market odds and lines. Find reviews for all the news for each league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, college sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all of your sports information for live in-game betting, props, and futures. Head on over to BetOnline today and use your mobile device to join and make your first sports bet. Use our promo code BELIEVE50, that's BELIEVE50, BLEAV 50, to receive your 50% off welcome bonus on your first deposit. That's betonline.ag, betonline.ag.
He will sell your house and find you a new. Well, Tyler's the man, he's here for you. If you want to buy or sell, well, it's not too late. Dial 955-0008. Just call 955-0008. Y'all call Tyler, he'll shoot you straight.
Louisiana is unique. The food, the festivals, even the bugs. No, not mud bugs. Unwanted bugs like these. The ones you don't want crawling in your home or business. Trust the Shield from J&J Exterminating. We've been protecting Louisiana homes for over 50 years, earning the trust of our clients because we deliver what we promise. Protect your home from pests. Get the Shield from J&J Exterminating.
J&J Exterminating. Yeah. We're back.
All right. So, look, last night at the end of the show, we got to talk a little bit about this baseball team. And I said, look, you're coming off a 3-game series against Xavier. You lost one on Sunday. You didn't look good at the plate, and it got a lot of people spooked. I'm just going to be honest. A lot of you got spooked. Like, it was October 31st, and hocus pocus was coming. You were so spooked. I understand some of the concerns. I don't fully believe that everybody remembered that last year that Xavier was a team that was in a regional. I made the comparison that this was a game that you lose in a series like you lose in a ULL. Obviously, ULL's had a lot more success, but you get the point. A regional team, a team that has a lot of talent and has had a lot of success. Don't worry about it. But I continue to see a lot of your concerns. So what I want to say about at least LSU offensively, I understand it. As a fan, I get it. As someone who wants to see LSU dominate and have success at the plate, I'm with you. 1,000%. Like we talked a little bit earlier about Paxton Kling. Like, hey, man, 1,000% in the lineup every game. I am right there. He is a top talent. Dude is a defensive wizard in center. I'm with you there. Struggling, probably shouldn't be leading off. I know he got the big hit against Southeastern to win you the ball game. Gotcha. He was 2 for 20 before that. I don't think he needs to be in that spot, but I do think that you can look at certain little individual things, like Tommy Tanks is hitting a lot of ground balls. Tonight, he starts, and even going into late in the game Saturday, even into Sunday, he's starting taking the ball the other way. Massive shift is on. He says, all right, you know what? Screw this. I'm going to hit the ball the other way, right back into the 4-hole. Let's get back to me just doing me. You're going to see that in a lot of these guys. I thought Bear Jones' home run tonight, the second time that he has gone deep into line drive and just pissed all over the ball into right field. Then people freak out. Oh, my God. He struck out on a 2-seam fastball, 91-mile-an-hour fastball at his knees that's running in. Okay. Like, don't panic about that. Don't panic about that. Reps will continue to get him better. That's going to happen. But I do think that your concerns can be warranted because it's not like last year. But I will tell you, maybe it just because baseball isn't necessarily followed as much at times when it comes to what we have or what it is. But, guys, you're replacing 80-plus home runs that left your lineup a year ago with a lot of guys that are inexperienced, talented but inexperienced, and it's going to take time. Doesn't mean that you can't shuffle the lineup. Doesn't mean a guy can't come out to see if another guy needs to go in. That's essentially what they did tonight by putting Brady Neal into right field. Like, hey, man, the 3 most consistent guys that I have right now is Hayden Travinski, Alex Milazzo, and Brady Neal. Brady Neal gets to start. And right now, I understand that Ethan Fry might have gotten that shot out there tonight if he would have been healthy. And that's fine. But that was a guy that the last 2 games you saw him, he was pissing all over baseballs. the bottom line is I don't think right now or is the time to say, all right, look, listen, you're having some issues. We got to work through it. I thought you had a lot of good at-bats. Now, I know we walked through this and we'll continue to walk through this, but Mississippi State loses to South Alabama tonight. Sam Houston State, if I'm not mistaken, who's a really good team, and you played last year and was one of the hotter group of 5 teams in the country. I don't know what the score is against Texas A&M at the current moment. I think that game is tied up. That's my point. That's a regional team. That's a team that's really good. And they got an undefeated, if I'm not mistaken there too, undefeated Texas A&M team on the ropes. A&M's going to be a pretty good squad, man. I'm just going to tell you, they're going to be a really, really good squad. So we'll look at it. Okay, we will look at and see how this goes down the line. It starts really on Friday. The true story of your season starts on Friday in SEC play with a team in Mississippi State that has struggled, to say the least, already this year. Chris Lamonis on the hot seat. So we just got to change, I think, at least some of you. We got to change our mindsets on what this team looks like. Look, man, potentially getting a run against this team can be a challenge. It can be a challenge. Now, you're going to have clutch hitting at times, but you're good enough on the mound right now. Let's see how it translates to Monday. Dakota, God dog it. I forget the kid's last name from Mississippi State, but Dakota, I think he went long, or he went yard again tonight. It's going to be a fun series. I understand it. Let's just run through the game a little bit very quickly before we get to some football stuff here. Look, you came out in the first. I thought Cade Anderson, believe it or not. So let's talk about Cade Anderson very quickly too. So Cade, Dakota Jordan, thank you guys. Dakota Jordan from Mississippi State. Cade Anderson, arguably one of his tougher starts, if that's what you want to call it. I mean, look, gives up a double, gives up a run in the first inning. Fine through 2, 1, 2, 3, has a walk, 6-4-3 double play, and then gets a fly out. Here's the thing that's interesting with Cade Anderson that we saw tonight. He got through 2 2/3 innings and 34 pitches, and Jay went and got him. That fully tells me that Jay is preparing to get Cade Anderson ready so that we see him at least coming out of the bullpen this weekend. And they're going to try to maybe or potentially figure something out on who starts the midweek. Maybe that's Javen Coleman. I do not know. I do not know what Jay will do in the midweek. Maybe he'll just patch it together. I do not know. But tonight's move by Jay Johnson to get Cade Anderson out of there in the third after 34 pitches, or 2 2/3 rather, I think this tells you that you should prepare to see him this weekend. Now, I don't know what they do with him tomorrow. Probably has to be nothing. But I just fully expect to see him this weekend. That would be my opinion or what I would think. That would probably be the storyline if you had to ask me of today's game. Because when Jay came out of the dugout, I'm like, look, man, he just got a ground out. He gave up a single in the right field. I know he gave up a wild pitch, but he came out and got a strikeout. Like, what are we doing out here? Is the kid hurt? I was a little confused. But obviously it makes a lot of sense. You want to get him probably into the weekend. You start SEC play against Mississippi State. So it's going to be interesting to see when you see him. I have a thought. I do have a thought. Is there a better 1-2 than if you had? And we have to see Cade Anderson out of the bullpen. We hadn't seen that yet. It's a completely different situation. What if you have Luke Holman on Friday and then you have a quick turnaround, which I don't think Jay will do. I think he'll wait till Cade maybe on Sunday after Thatcher Hurd. But what if you see Cade Anderson maybe Friday and then they work him back to a Sunday? I don't know what they do, but you're going to see him this weekend. That has got to be the storyline. Look, I do want to talk about Bear Jones. Okay. Another deep fly in the right field. I think at times he has seen it very well. He is the country version of Pedro Serrano. Let me say that again. Bear Jones is the country Georgia version, the honky-tonk badonkadonk version, pause, of Pedro Serrano from Major League. Dude's going to crush any fastball that you leave middle in. And God forbid if you leave him a belt-high fastball, he's going to send it to Mars on a rocket that Elon Musk could not go get. Or you're going to see someone who can throw a lot of off-speed stuff in the strike zone, and he's going to struggle. It's just how it's going to be. But here's the truth. That's also true for pretty much every power hitter we've ever seen in the history. Mark McGwire. Oh, Mark, why did he strike out? Because teams, Greg Maddux, and other people that can legitimately not make mistakes and get the breaking ball in, they struggled. Aaron Judge is another one. You miss with a fastball, and he is going to send that to the bleachers. It's how most power hitters are. He's on fire. And I love his approach. I think he's seen more pitches. And every pitch that Bear Jones sees, and especially every curveball that he sees, every changeup that he sees, every slider that he sees, gets him better. And I'm good with that. I still think Mac Bingham, man, for what it's worth, still another night where Mac Bingham has another hit. He goes 1 for 4. Doesn't matter. Still another game with another hit for Mac Bingham. And then Alex Milazzo. Interesting. I got a question for you. Would you leave Milazzo behind the plate and let Brady Neal going right? What do you do with Pearson? I don't know. This is why Jay gets paid the big bucks, man. I think he's got a really good problem right now. I do think that if Milazzo, I mean, guys, quite honestly, I know that Josh Pearson can hit the ball a long, long way. Alex Milazzo right now gives you better at-bats. But Pearson, it's a lot of the same story that happened with him last year. I mean, same old Josh Pearson. Early part of the season, really struggled, had an injury, worked his way back through a lineup, and then, guys, in a national championship game, he's sending one over the bleachers. Or into the bleachers, I should say. I mean, it's typical Josh Pearson. We've literally seen this every year from Josh Pearson. Every year. Nothing has changed. It's been the same exact storyline every single year. If a guy shows you more than once who he is, maybe you should believe him. Jared Addison with a $4.99 super sticker. Thank you so much, Jared. Yes, every time y'all send in super chats and the super stickers, man, it really does help us. As we continue to grow here, man. Look, the studio is coming along. I know I say that all the time, but y'all don't get to see it the way that I do. We might be having a new look here soon. Maybe after this weekend. We just so much after Ida we had to do after the hurricane and getting hit the way that we did. It's been a long time coming. You know, said it was coming 2 weeks before Ida, and shit just happens. That might be a little bit of too much of a look into my personal life, but it's the truth. Chad Michael says, I don't understand the complaining the fan base does about Jones. He's going to hit 20 home runs, if not more, and hit around 260. Nothing wrong with that. Yeah, and you know what, Chad, what's crazy about that? I mean, he hit 300 last year, and he played through halfway through the SEC. You know, like that's the crazy thing with him. I don't know if he doesn't stay around there. Chili Vic says, should Kling still be batting leadoff? We've talked about this a little bit, Chili. I am not of the opinion that he should. I am not there with him right now. I think you're going to have to move him lower in the lineup. I'll be honest with you. I put him in the 9 hole. And the reason I would is because if he does get on base, if Milam comes up to the plate or whoever you're going to put there, at least you can use his wheels to an advantage. That's what I would do with him. And putting him there is not saying, hey, he's the worst guy on our lineup. Not even remotely close. I'm just saying that you can use his wheels to an advantage and put Braswell. I don't know what you do with him. Now, Braswell had a big RBI sac fly tonight. He hadn't looked bad. You know, I think Braswell's gotten a lot of heat, you know, but when you play shortstop at LSU, when you're not getting heat, unless your name's Alex Bregman or Nola, you know, like, I mean, you're just gonna field some heat. I don't think he's been bad at all. He had a bad strikeout. I mean, really bad 1, 2, 3, but he did ground out to second. I mean, to short, excuse me. Yeah, but he's hitting. I mean, Braswell. I'm looking at Braswell tonight. Sac fly in the right field, ground out to shortstop, and then had a line drive out into right field. I mean, it's not bad, man. Then he struck out in the 8th. That's not bad, man. I mean, I think he's seen the ball pretty well. I will tell you, to round this up, to talk about this too, and we were talking about what they do in right field. Brady Neal, man, I mean, guy goes 3 for 3 tonight. I mean, has had times where he can be a little bit streaky. You cannot take him out of the lineup. If you don't want him to catch a night, put him in right or DH him. That's what you're going to have. You're going to have to play your 3 catchers, and you're going to have to find a way. If you don't feel good at Travinsky at first, don't want to move Barron to DH. I don't know what role you move in. Don't think Brady Neal had a bad night in right field. You might have to put him out there. And that might be your best lineup right now until maybe Ethan Fry comes back and can swing it a little bit and see how he does and work himself back into this lineup. What do you do with Ashton Larson? But I just don't know if you don't keep Milazzo back there for the current moment to see how it continues to roll for you. I mean, he's just, ironically enough, giving you better at bats. And that's just not a slight to Pearson. It's just, it is what it is. I don't think that you can keep him out. They'll play again. They'll play again tomorrow at 1. So obviously we'll touch on that and talk about that. So it will be an interesting ride there. Crazy enough, I want to say this too. Did y'all hear Ronnie Rance talk about North Dakota State's, like, what they have to do schedule-wise, like a road and away game or away games and home games, like 40 games on the road North Dakota State has to do? You want to talk about losing money for a program. God, their baseball program doesn't generate shit. That's what you call really loving some baseball. Let's see here. Mike says, thought it was pretty cool. I think it was the second inning. LSU had all 3 of their catchers on all the bases. How about that? I did not know that. I did not know that. That is interesting. That is very interesting. Paul Sub Martin says the travel fatigue got to those NDSU players like a sack of bricks. Excuse me. Yeah, it's got to be getting to them, man. I mean, that's brutal. In case you didn't hear it, like, they got to play like 40 out of 56 road games. Like 40 of their 56 games are on the road. That is just insanity. How much money do you have to spend? Like, why would you do that? Now, I didn't understand in North Dakota, the field's probably frozen. You know, like, I understand that. That's just pure insanity. Golly. You got to be really dedicated to baseball. You got to be really dedicated to baseball, man. I'm just telling you. And it's not like they're in the deep south. They're from North Dakota. North Dakota. Minnesota. Oh, God. Probably shouldn't have done that because some of you are going to know the reference. Some of you are going to know the reference. All right. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. I want to know. I want to know something. What is stronger, the LSU lineup or depth that they have at catcher, or the pause that Skip Bayless used today in his tweet? All in my blank. He knew what he was doing. He knew what he was doing. Come on, man. Bro, you know how bad you got to be? Skip Bayless doesn't even follow anybody on Twitter. Loser. All right, let's get to a quick break. We got some football stuff, some recruiting stuff we need to touch on, and then we'll wrap up with some softball and maybe some questions by you. Let's get to all of it. We do that next. Guys, you might know my good friend Carol Falls and all the great service that he provides over at State Farm. He is your good neighbor after all. But did you know State Farm has surprisingly great rates as well? Along with a great neighbor service, State Farm agent Carol Falls has surprisingly great rates for everyone inside the state of Louisiana. So call him today at 985-395-4300, 985-395-4300 for all of those surprisingly great rates on auto, home, and life insurance needs. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there, and individual premiums will vary by customer. All applicants subject to the State Farm underwriting requirements. By the Drake Williams Law Firm, drakewilliamslawfirm.com. Whether you've been injured in an accident, you're preparing for a future with your estate planning, you're getting ready to close in on a real estate deal, or you're about to welcome a new addition through adoption into your family, or you're facing criminal charges, you need very experienced attorneys, and that is what the Drake Williams Law Firm will be able to do for you in navigating the legal system. The door to their cozy office in historic downtown Ponchatoula has been open since 1981. They have helped thousands and thousands of Louisiana families and individuals win cases, close on real estate deals, and regain that peace of mind. Their lawyers over at the Drake Williams Law Firm, Ernie Drake III, Ryan J. Williams, and Summer Vignair, are very determined, compassionate, and dedicated to their craft. It's the Drake Williams Law Firm, drakewilliamslawfirm.com. Give them a call today at 985-386-7600. Tell them your good friend Blake Ruffino at AYS sent you on by. Bayou Daiquiris at Bayou Bowl & Go is owned and operated locally by Steve and Lisa Bean. You can find them at 1512 North Highway 190 in Covington, Louisiana. That's 1512 North Highway 190 in Covington. The North Shore's first Crawfish drive-thru is about to step it up another notch by bringing you drive-thru daiquiris as well. You can call in your order today at 985-888-1914, 985-888-1914, because you know what? Daiquiris and Crawfish, it's a Louisiana thing.
J&J has protected Louisiana homes and businesses for over 60 years.
Call him today, make the pests go away. J&J Exterminating. Yeah.
All right. So let's talk a little bit of recruiting. We have not mentioned football recruiting in quite some time here, and I think it's time we get to it. There have been some rumors circling of late about maybe some potential commitments that aren't full in for LSU. Decorian Moore, there was a piece that came out in reference to him winding down to 4 teams. I have fielded the question a lot, and we'll address it here. I feel it's going to be fine. Kids going on visits. A free trip to go see college football all across the country. And he was in Baton Rouge recently. Unofficially. Interesting. I think I'm going to be okay with Corey Moore and Baton Rouge and LSU. I do think that you should expect defensive line-wise things to pick up. Bo Davis has had a lot of offers out there. With there being a lot of offers, I do think eventually, now I'm not saying tomorrow, I'm not saying this week, could be tomorrow, this week, but I would expect for there to potentially be some commitments coming from the defensive line. Look, I will tell you, even right now, okay, I don't think that you've recruited from more than one person at that position group. Like, for example, last year it was pretty much Don McKinley, right? Like, I mean, like interior of the defensive line, really all you're going after. Now you got some others. I'm not saying that you didn't, but that was really the buzz around your interior defensive line recruiting, mainly due to that you needed it and that it was a 5-star in your own state. I know you got an DT from Westgate last year in DeMarion Johnson. I'm not saying anything about you not getting him, but I think you know where I'm going at with that. They have not necessarily started recruiting a lot of big name interior defensive line guys. I think Bo Davis is what he is doing is identifying the dudes that he wants and going to bring them in here. I've heard a lot of stuff about Bo Davis, and I don't think that you can judge him off of this year solely. I think you got to give him at minimum 3 years to rebuild a line like this to see where it's going. Okay. I don't think that he is what I've heard some say a miracle worker. I do think that this year that he can make them a lot better. I've heard a lot of things, but reality about him and recruiting and what has transpired on the field is not true. You know, I've had this discussion with some Texas people in reference to them. Oh, well, we don't really need Bo Davis. He didn't recruit well enough. He didn't develop well enough. Okay. Well, that's interesting because when you say something like that and we look at reality, well, what reality shows us is that your defensive line last year was the strength and core of your team. It was your secondary that was in the hundreds in passing yards allowed last year in Texas. The reason you were so good defensively was because of the defensive line and what you did up there. That was, guys, last year Texas made a playoff. It would be like this year talking about LSU's wide receiving core. Okay, they were really good. He didn't recruit all of them. No, but he developed a shit lot of them. And they are where they are because he was there and developed 3-star kids. Just because you identify something, oh, well, it wasn't the star rating. It wasn't the pop that I needed. It wasn't the clicks that I needed. That's where a lot of that generates from. People are too lazy to say or even go and watch somebody and who they are in recruiting. I'm not worried about them. I think they're going to bring solid guys in and develop them. I think that's how they want to do it. You got a guy like Don McKinley. How quickly can Bo Davis get him up to speed? We'll find that out very, very quickly because it's going to be essential that he gets in there very, very quickly to help out in that interior of that defensive line. So you have some offers that are out there. We put a lot of them up on our message board, our forum. Nothing's really changed on who they're targeting. They're still targeting the same dudes over and over again, still targeting the same people. So we'll watch out for that. Also, I do think that Blake Baker has started to pick up some things in reference to his position group, that being the linebacking unit. They have gone after some guys that are very high risers. They've identified very early in this process and are like CJ Ross as an example. They identified there, got the commitment there. They're doing that in other places as well. I do think that this linebacker unit can be one of the best when from a holistic standpoint when it comes to at the end of the year when you're looking at that unit. Look, you do have James Simon that's still out there. I know a lot of people are looking at James Simon wondering when he is going to commit. I would expect now that James Simon has come out with his list of places that he is going to visit, give it a little time. I don't fear what James – I still have my pick in for where James Simon is going to go. You're going to need to get him, Harlan Berry. You're going to have to replenish that running back room very, very vastly. I mean, I think you go in the portal, but look, Josh Williams won't be there next year, okay? You'll have two – right now, the way that it would look like, you would have 2 scholarship backs, depending on what happens with Trey Holly. You can't fully rely on that. No, regardless of what anybody tells you, I don't want to hear it. You cannot fully rely on him being there just in case something pops off and something happens. So even if you had 3, you're still going to need the 2 backs. I do think that you get to both of them. So I know that there's been a lot of chatter about James Simon. I do think that you will get him in the fold there. Corey Adams is somebody that's very interesting to me because we saw him, and we talked about this last week. We saw him Thursday at practice. I gave that little hint and nugget that he was in practice last Thursday on our show. I will say this about Corey Adams. LSU's about to have to really destroy Carr because they got kids. Really good ones. Really, really good ones. I think that the relationship that the Carr football program has with LSU right now is better than it's ever been. Actually, I believe it's stronger than it's ever been because BK knows how to manage more than he gets credit for. You know, we talk about some mismanagement like the defensive line. That has been a big concern. But I think everybody and their mama wants to be negative about something. And what I would tell you is sometimes you got to get out of the way to let people on your staff shine and do things for you, and you come in when you're needed. I think Brian Kelly has showed with the number 1 overall class right now that, and you got to give him credit for this, I just think that he's done a lot better than people are giving him credit for. New Orleans, I am not worried about. Blake Wardell Mack went to Texas. I could really give a shit. I mean, be honest with you. Kid didn't want to be here. The recruitment was very difficult. All right, bye-bye. See ya. In a nutshell, Brian Kelly has assembled so far in 2025 the number 1 overall class. They're going to continue to add to it. You have arguably the best player that you've ever recruited, committed, was back here this weekend, will be back here soon. You feel very strongly about that. I think things are about to just really start getting better. I think that and we got some time for this, there will be some stuff that happens in the spring. There will be some commitments that happen in the spring. Come summer, all hell, I think, will break loose. The reason I say that is I think you really start having a lot of dudes drop and you continue to build in 2025. And, guys, I got to tell you, I'm not going to say you're going to finish with the number 1 overall class. I mean, Georgia's doing some things in recruiting that makes you be like, oh, shit. They're going to be in the top 3. And, guys, I got to be real with you. You can't really argue with that. I know that they're gunning for 1. I really do think that Brian Kelly, secretly, he will not admit this. I think he really wants that number 1 spot in recruiting. He ain't going to tell his staff. He will tell a couple of his hiring people, but I've already heard some chatter that I do think that Brian Kelly wants that number 1 overall class, and I think he knows and has the vision more right now than others do about how you're going to have to build a dynasty run in the new age of college football. Another thing too, this isn't an excuse, okay? But I'm going to tie this into LSU because I think it does tie into Brian Kelly a little bit. I will talk about this a lot tomorrow morning on our show around your SEC early tomorrow morning, or I say early tomorrow morning, but around 11 a.m. I do think that we've been a little bit harder on coaches, head coaches, when it comes to wins and losses because of everything that goes on. Today, Nick Saban was meeting with members of Congress, okay, and telling them pretty much everything that's going on. In the mob world, you would say he's dropping a dime on his sport, on what is happening. Although I have my specific thoughts about Nick Saban and what he said about college football and about NIL and about money, even though I do think that he's a hypocrite. And being someone who covers recruiting and talks recruiting and is on the phone for recruiting every single day, it's hypocritical for Nick Saban to be the dude. Maybe y'all should have gone to Dabo, to be honest with you, because he's not in the portal like everybody else. I know that Nick had to do it to stay relevant. I get all of that. But I do want to give Brian Kelly a little bit of grace to some of the flack that he's taken about some things in recruiting, even some coaching stuff. It is what it is, man. College football is changing all around us. Maybe you continue to blame him for Matt House. I understand that. He can't get over that. But, guys, 3 of the last 4 coordinators, the defensive coordinators he's hired, they've been head coaches. Guys, there's a strong possibility it's going to be 4 of the last 5. I think you're going to be fine. I really do. I really do. This year is going to be a big one. And you got to get to a playoff. If you want to start on a run, you've had 2 really good years. You've won 10 games the last 2 years. It's not where you want to be. You got to get to 10 wins in the regular season. You got to make the playoff. Because then recruiting is going to start taking care of itself. Nick is out. You've already established that you can be a top contender in recruiting high school-wise. You've had a high retention rate. You have done very well there. Guys, LSU has not lost many players in the portal. And at some point, guys, I'm just going to tell you, at some point that's going to hit. When you have that much retention, it's going to start hitting. Could it be this year? It would be the craziest thing from a fan base or a team that, that I to this day believe that 2016 might have been just as talented as that 07 team, if not more talented. I mean, they certainly had the better quarterback, college quarterback. Matt Flynn was a dog. I get it. But you understand what I'm saying. From a prospect, wouldn't it be some shit if you had the Heisman Trophy winner this year and you don't go make a run? I do think that there are people sleeping on LSU, and that's okay. And you're going to say, well, Blake's a homer. I just don't think, guys, that people really research everybody that LSU plays. This beat talks about, we got this going on, we got that going on, we got this problem and that problem. Guys, they don't. I promise you this. As God is my witness, I know everybody on this beat, some of them do. I'm not saying all of them do. Some of them do. They're not college football relevant. They are not college football relevant. They do not watch anything outside of LSU, don't know about it, don't care about it, and that's fine. But sometimes you got to take and give about, hey, man, play calling and defensive philosophy can change a lot of things. Okay. Don't worry about them in recruiting. There's a lot of BS out there. Brandon Reese says he'll be interested to see what happens with Jacoby Matthews. I agree, but I don't know if he goes inside. I mean, he can go inside the SEC and unless he gets some kind of waiver. Cole Adams says, YouTube breaks in with their commercials and takes me back to the start of the show. I'm old and technically challenged. I ain't touching my phone, so there's that. Sorry. I don't know what to tell you. That's YouTube, man. That ain't me. That is not me. I don't know. I do not know what to tell you there. How about the LSU softball team, by the way? How about the LSU softball team, man? Really good performance here today against Texas. Guys, they're loaded. Only undefeated team left in the field. How they're not number one, I don't know. I mean, they're number one in the RPI, so maybe that helps them. But got to give Beth Torino a lot of credit. Taylor Pleasance is one of, if not the best players I've ever seen at LSU for LSU softball. She is a just beast. The play she made today, I thought was legendary. She is a legend. Team came out today against Texas, put up 5 runs in the first inning, really got after the Longhorns, got the pitcher that they started with at Texas and some early or some deep counts. She couldn't contain this massive offense for LSU. And look, man, they poured it on. 1-7-4, still undefeated, 23-0. Beth Torino, we're going to have to start talking about it more. Got a decent series this weekend versus Ole Miss. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. All right. We'll see you guys tomorrow morning, actually, 11 a.m. We'll see y'all then. Y'all have a good one. I'm out of here. Peace.